Welcome back to the Portal Report Head Coach Showcase Series. I'm your host, George Michalowski, Director of Recruiting here at the Portal Report. And today I'm joined by a very special guest. Today we bring on the head coach of the Richmond Spiders men's basketball program, Chris Mooney. Coach, welcome on. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Chris, obviously a big year for you guys last year, A-10 champions in DC. You take down Iowa in the NCAA Tournament. And now you're sitting here, middle of July. You've brought some guys back. You've also added some big time transfers this offseason. So to start off, how has this offseason gone? Are you guys getting guys back on campus now? How's everything going?
Yeah, it's going great. Thank you. So we happen to have a pretty early calendar. So if school finishes at the end of April, we're back and in summer school, May 17th or so. So we're actually late in our summer. This is our last week of summer school of 2 5-week sessions. And I would say that it's been probably the busiest off season that I've had since I've been here because of the recruiting out of the portal. So it used to be that there was a somewhat of a lull after the season, the end of March, April into May was a bit of a lull. And that's been replaced because of the portal recruiting. That's probably the busiest time of the year right now. So yeah, we've been extremely busy. It's been great, but we've definitely been extremely busy.
Right. So I'm sure, in the past you were never recruiting during March Madness or during the weeks right after, but it's crazy now. So I want to talk about that transfer class that you brought in, and a guy I'll start with is a guy that we wrote about extensively on the Portal Report earlier in the spring, Neil Quinn, 7-footer. All Patriot League last year at Lafayette, 14 points, 7 rebounds per game around there. So, he brings 3 years of experience to you guys. How did you feel when Neil told you he was going to be a Spider, when he committed to you guys?
Yeah, I felt great. It was, I think it was a Sunday afternoon. I was at my son's baseball game when he called. I felt great because he was one of the guys that we really targeted. Because Coach O'Hanlon at Lafayette was retiring, there was a little bit more of a heads up that he was going to enter the portal, that he was going to, because of the COVID year, he has 2 years left. He was going to enter the portal. And it was somebody that we were familiar with, as a player out of high school. And then we're familiar with during the season when Coach O announced his retirement. He was probably our top priority and somebody that we really wanted to make sure we expressed our interest in because of how well he does the things that we like passing, his low post game. He's very, he's a very versatile player for a guy that size. And he's been terrific. He's had a great summer and really has been a terrific competitive guy who really wants to be good. And we think that he'll have a great 2 years at Richmond.
Right. And another guy you guys bring on, Jason Roche, another huge addition for you guys. I was up in Pittsburgh. I watched him hit 8 threes and dropped 27 to sink Pitt, in the season opener for the Citadel. So he was one of the best, if not the best, young shooters in college basketball last season. So how big of an addition is Jason to your program, and how has he looked so far?
Yeah, he's been great. He's a tremendous kid. He has a really unique path. He's from California, went to a prep school on the East Coast during the COVID year. They didn't play or practice or anything. So he just isolated on the East Coast and then went to Citadel, basically sight unseen. And Coach Duggar Balcom, same thing. He was let go. I think Jason would have loved to stay at the Citadel, but was a little bit disappointed with the coaching change and how close he was to Coach Balcom. So when he became available again, he's a tremendous shooter. He's 6'3", 6'4". He's not only a tremendous shooter, but he has great stamina, good sense for how to play. He's he really does not commit turnovers, competitive. So I think that he has a chance. And again, he has 3 years, and that's really, something we thought was important going into this is we had to take advantage, like everybody, try to take advantage of some more experienced players, but we wanted to make sure that they had multiple years. And he's a perfect addition because he has 3 years, and has already had a tremendous freshman season at the Citadel.
Right. And another guy, Isaiah Biglow, you bring him in, another experienced, talented forward from Wofford. He's a graduate student now, I saw on your roster. So in terms of what these guys, whether it's Jason's shooting, whether it's Neil's smart play, his passing, his inside presence, how important is Isaiah's experience to your team, and how much of a veteran, how much of a leader has he shown you that he can be?
Yeah, he's been terrific, and we played Wofford a couple of times, and he played last year, and we were all impressed by him. He also has 2 years left because he had a red shirt and the COVID year. So as a grad student, he'll have 2 years.
Okay,
he's been terrific. He's been an extremely hard worker. He's been very, very competitive. He's versatile. He makes 3-point shots. He can make mid-range shots. He's a very good rebounder, an intense defender. So, I think that he comes from a great program. They had a very good team, while he was there. He was a good contributor, and I think that I think he's really good. He's even better than I thought. And I had, as I said, we played them. I had high hopes for him, but he's even better than I thought. And I think he'll do great.
So you've been around for a long time now, coaching at Richmond. You've won championships. You've been to the NCAA tournament, the all-time winningest coach in Richmond hoops. So, you've seen it all when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to coaching, everything that comes with the job. So I want to ask you, since its inception a few years ago, how has the transfer portal and all things that you've seen affect the game of college basketball? How has the transfer portal changed the landscape of college hoops?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm sure that there are like everything, there are positives and negatives. I think the biggest thing that jumps out to me is I think there are still 600 or 700 players in the portal. Maybe you would know that better than
right. There are. There are.
So that's 600 or 700 players that were at Division I schools on scholarships with a great meal plan and the ability to play at a great level in college basketball who might not have that next year, whether that was their decision or coach's decision or a new coach, whatever that might be. So I don't think that part of it's great. I think that, when a lot of these rules and people talk about when a guy transfers from, North Carolina to Arizona, well, he's in great shape at either place. And, there's maybe something's a little bit better playing time wise or the fit, but the guys who make a mistake, maybe, I don't think there's quite as much, protection for them. So that's the first thing I think of is that 600 or 700 guys. Now, maybe they go to junior college or Division II or III, but maybe if they had a more honest evaluation of the landscape, they wouldn't have jumped into the portal in some instances.
Right.
And they'd still be at Division I. And there have been countless players over the years who haven't had a great freshman year, but have ended up having a great career, or it didn't click for them till their junior year, whatever it is. And I think that maybe some of those guys are missing out on that for if it was their decision or somebody else's decision. From our standpoint at Richmond, I think we're an attractive place for someone who's been in college. We've been a 4 or 5 year player program. We've always recruited guys out of high school. We've redshirted a fair amount. And so we're comfortable with that and developing guys. It's a great school, so we want the guys to have every chance to earn their degree and do well. And while they're doing that, get better and better at basketball and develop more confidence and their love for the program and those things that are more traditional values in college sports. But the portal has guys who are further along, more proven, and it's a very good place to get players. So I think there's certainly a positive. But I don't know if this overall is going to be the system that's in place in 5 to 10 years. Because I think that, while the old system felt like a penalty, you had to sit out a year, that I don't think that was necessarily the reason it was in place. And competitive balance was one thing that was a consideration there. So I don't think that sitting out a year, they used to call it a year in residence so that the player could get more familiar with the college. And that's not necessarily the case. But I don't know if guys, because my fear is that guys are now going to be able to transfer multiple times without sitting out.
Right.
And then, if you go from Pitt to Fordham to High Point, where's your progress toward degree? Who's your degree from? Are you allowed to carry all those credits? And I worry if we take our eye off of that part of it, you could have guys who have played 4 years of college basketball, but don't have a degree, even though they've attended class and they've been in summer school and they've done what they're supposed to do. And I think we need to make sure that we look at the whole picture, not just the top 50 guys in the portal as of May 1st. I don't think, I know that's fun and to look at and part of what keeps college basketball interesting in the offseason. But I think those guys who are maybe impatient or misled, I don't necessarily know if this is the best policy for everyone.
Right. It's interesting. There's so many pros and cons, like you said, and you guys have done a tremendous job this offseason, especially getting, who you want, who's great for your program, and getting guys to buy in. These guys, Neil Quinn, Jason Roche, and even Biglow, they had, high major schools coming after them in this portal. So you guys have really nailed that down. But I want to give you the floor here just to close us out. I want to give you some time to get Richmond fans excited. What would you say to the Richmond fans out there, ahead of this season?
Well, we're very excited because one, even though we had so many older players last year, and we had 4 guys come back to take advantage of their COVID bonus year, we had 3 guys do that again this year. Matt Grace, Andre Gustafson, Connor Crabtree. So that's, to have 7 guys choose to do that in this landscape, in this college basketball landscape, is really great. It speaks highly for the university and that guys want to be here and continue to be part of the school and the program. And then the guys, so we're not young, even though we graduated a lot of guys. And, the COVID bonus year kind of plays into everybody's roster. And then the guys we've added, we feel really, really good about. And guys who were who didn't get a chance to play as much last year because those super seniors returned, like Jason Nelson and Jai Bailey and Marcus Randolph, Aiden Noyes. So we had some guys redshirt because those guys came back. So they've reset their clock a little bit, but hopefully it's going to pay dividends in the future and as early as this year.
Right. So we will have our eyes on you guys all year over here at the Portal Report. Coach, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I'll let you go, but good luck this season.
Thanks very much. I really appreciate being on.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Portal Report. I'm your host, George Michalowski. Until next time.